One. All right, we are live. What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. The beef, the beef, the beef. I will let people come on, give people a chance to log on before I get started, because we have a lot to talk about. Where we at in this crazy world, people? Where are we at? We got 20 on the chat. Welcome, welcome. Domino Don, counterpunch to you, sir. First on the chat. Alumaid, Agunjabi. What's up, brother? Andre, Bogey 708, Simon Colfard. Best regards from England. Counterpunch to you, Raphael Dawkins. Combat Radio, 21 now. Yorkshire, UK. Appreciate it, Ashley. So happy I'm here. Absolutely. I'm happy everyone's here. Come one, come all. We got a lot to talk about. What we have, Brit versus Brit, UK versus UK. It's going down. It has erupted. You know. This is, I believe, a result of being pushed too hard. You know, I mean, you can only talk so much shit. I remember Anthony Joshua saying that himself. You know, someone keeps poking at you, pretty soon you're going to turn around to see what the hell's poking at you, right? You know, it was going to happen, you know. My question is, what the hell took so long? You know what I mean? Lee Neville, Norfolk, UK. Alex Stancato, Vegas. Counterpunch to you guys. John Parkinson, greetings from Hull, England. Adamu Sani, hello from Nigeria. Counterpunch to you. MG 2019, greetings from Manchester, UK. UK, big up in here. Yep, they sure are. Andre, what's going on with Ruiz? Did he forget who gave him the bread? Obviously he did, Andre. We'll talk about that later. Tiffany Wright, DJN, Yamini, number one. Why did it come out today of all days? That's a very good question, DJN. Counterpunch. Why of all days in the middle of an interview did it come out now? Now, I know the reporter, she mentioned the name, but, you know, she mentioned the name of Lennox Lewis. You know, I seen that portion of the video, which I have to watch it all. And because we don't have Sky Sports over here in the USA, I need to get some type of, I don't know, link or something like that. But I do have it. A good friend of mine has recorded it for me and I have to watch it. But I wanted to cover this first, you know, with the beef of what we already know. Anthony Joshua straight up calls Lennox Lewis a clown, a payaso. That's clown in Spanish for people that don't know. And it was surprising to hear him say that. And I say partly because that's something that Anthony Joshua could have already done. You know what I'm saying? Tiffany Wright, counterpunch to you. Mark Lawson, Frank Warren and Lennox Lewis have the same love for AJ. Answer equals none. Daryl Rogier, Dizzy UK, flavor of the month, big up from London. Bogey 708, where is the money in this? I have no idea. I know where the money was. And it's coming soon. I have a lot to break down to you guys. Actually, I'm uploading a video right now. And check that out as soon as it posts. But we have a lot to cover. Joyce H. Greetings from London, England. Counterpunch to you, Joyce H. Domino Don, I think AJ bottles stuff up so much, then he explodes. He should have had dealt with it as soon as it happened, 100%. And you know what? 100% counterpunch, Domino Don. Absolutely. Don't let shit build up. Don't play. Don't pretend. Don't fake. Don't brush it off, because obviously if something's bottled up, it's not brushed off. That's a shitty narrative, and that really makes no sense. You brush it off. Well, if it's affecting you, you need to address it. And really, that is one habit of an alpha male. They pretend, if you look at, they pretend things don't bother them, when in fact it does. Outside surface doesn't bother me at all. I'm cool, calm, and collective. Doesn't bother me, but it does. You know what I'm saying? So pretty much so. So, I think he should have hey, Lennox Lewis, I'm not the only fighter in the fucking world. Why do you always have my name in your mouth? Right? I would have said that a long time ago, but instead, being the politician, worried about, I guess, what people would think. And it's weird, something? Now I think about it. Now I understand. You remember how he went left on Jarrell Miller? I know Jarrell Miller pushed him and, kind of weight checked him by pushing him. You know what I mean? Like to bully him around, to show him who's boss, to show him I ain't scared, to show him this is Brooklyn and the attitude from growing up in the streets and sticks and fights and stones and fighting and shit. I know he did all that. But do you notice how he went left on Jarrell Miller? Like he was just like, damn, who is this dude? You know what I mean? We seen that little smidgen of that come out when Dillian White called him a lanky piece of shit. Remember that? So, Mitch, top channel, counterpunch to you. He deserves what he's getting from AJ. Hey. I just seen a very interesting video giving me another perspective on that, and I got to talk to you guys about that too. Mick Mahan, Super KDV from Manchester, UK, counterpunch to you. Birmingham in the house, big up AD. Tiffany Wright, there is some sort of history behind this conflict. It is. Tiffany, it is. And then I don't know what conflict you're referring to, but right when you said it, I thought of something in my boxing brain. I thought of this. Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali. Those guys always stayed into it. People don't know that. And Joe Louis was always criticizing Ali for the things he said, for some of the decisions that he made. Joe Louis questioned that. He criticized that. Okay. So this isn't new. History repeats itself. It repeats itself. So when you see people, getting into it, a senpai, versus a kohai, the senior man gets into it with a junior man. It happens all the time. I'm giving you an example of Joe Louis. Prime example. Joe Louis went to the army, right? He went to the army because he was summoned. He was drafted. They had to draft back then. So since they had to draft back then, he went to the army. Okay. Muhammad Ali didn't go to the army, right? Joe Louis went to the army, served his time. He did exhibitions. He made a change in the army, actually. Because he noticed that all the white soldiers were in the front, and then a lot of the black soldiers were either way in the back or they couldn't attend the exhibitions that he was putting on for the troops, being a soldier himself, but he was somewhat of a celebrity because he was, right? He was the heavyweight champion of the world at that time. So, he made everyone equal, balanced. He was like, look, you got to bring those guys out of the kitchens. You got to, you got to do this, or I'm not going to put on these exhibitions. So, he did make a difference. He did the same thing in golf, but that's another story. However, Ali didn't do that. This war, that was World War II. This war was Vietnam. He wasn't going to Vietnam, right? His quote was, no Viet Cong called me, you know what, right? So he didn't go. And Joe Louis criticized him for not, going and defending his country. You know what I'm saying? So that was a big stink for a while because a lot of people question, why did Ali do that? And he got his license stripped from him. He couldn't fight no more for like 4 years, 4+ years. And those were the best years of his life. Think about it. Those were the best years of his life. So imagine taking 4 years from you. That's like someone, if that shit happens with Dillian White and they take 4 years from him, right? Then he comes back and does all this other spectacular things. That's what Ali done. But he was criticized by Joe Louis. This with Anthony Joshua and Lennox Lewis is no different. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I think about Tiffany Wright when they say there's some sort of history behind this conflict. It is, because history repeats itself. Runsta, a whole lot from Spain. Where do you think Ruiz and AJ will eventually counterpunch? You know what? Somewhere in person. Somewhere in person, definitely. I think as soon as AJ sees Lennox Lewis, it's on. And not really a physical confrontation. It would be something more like an event. You know what I mean? But that's like if maybe if AJ has his political hat on at the time. You know what I'm saying? Depends on where it's at. But my guess, it will happen, and I think it will be in person. You know, because I mean, we have all this social media stuff, and you know, people can say this, can say that. People stay in contact thousands of miles away from each other, right? That's what we have. The era of social media. You know, information can reach you before you can reach someone physically. But I think it will be in person. You know, at some type of event, some shape, form, or fashion. I don't know where, but that's where it's going to go down. Counterpunch Sean Peterson, Ricky Keefe, one of my favorite channels. Love how you actually look at the facts and not hype or being biased. Thank you, Ricky. Keefe, counterpunch to you. Lewis is a legend, but there has been unfair criticism towards AJ. You know, I think so. I think that I see, and a lot of us see through the shit. You can't tell me that you work for PBC and just so happen you're talking about a fighter that is not a PBC fighter in a negative sense. You know what I'm saying? That really just makes you like, okay, you're a PBC spokesman, then you're talking bad about AJ. Okay, that's typical. You know what I mean? Like, that's not surprising, you know, but there is more to tell. There is very much to tell. DJN Yemeni #1. Smells like they're trying to change the focus from Ruiz to Lennox, in my opinion. It could have been reported any other day. It could have. And I wonder that. I wonder why of all days Anthony Joshua decided today of all days. KK from United Kingdom, what's up, fight fans? Counterpunch to you, KK. Glad to see you in here. Jay Hussan, big up from Manchester. Absolutely. Counterpunch to you. Very strange comment for sure. Yep. Timing was just, I don't know. It's weird. You get your good days and you get your bad days. AJ was having a bad day. Maybe he was, Mickey Dub. Maybe he was. Adjust the camera. It's only showing your forehead. Damn, really? Damn, I must have a big ass forehead because I mean, maybe if I turned it another way, maybe. Let's see. Let's turn this device here. Well, let's see. Yeah. See if that works. Well, how's this? Boxing Logic. Welcome to the live chat. Counterpunch to you, brother. United. I've said many times AJ is a long fuse kind of guy. I'm the same. Curtains for Ruiz. His cup has runneth over. Yeah, obviously not enough because, you know, I just find it weird for Ruiz. His one focus is the location all of a sudden. But before it was the money, but then it was back to location, but he didn't regard it as money. So it seems like to me, he's trying to make up excuse after excuse not to make this happen. Something's going on. something shitty in Denmark. Yeah, Jay Hussein, absolutely. He's on the PBC payroll. So what do? You know, I mean, look, it's deeper than that. It's deeper than what you guys know. I just heard the tell all story. And you guys like to he'd go. Okay. Spencer, a promoter, a British promoter. I think his name is Spencer Farron. He is good friends with Lennox Lewis and Anthony Joshua. He's a promoter from Britain, as we know, as you guys know. If you don't know, you know now. Now, he told the whole story between Anthony Joshua and Lennox Lewis. Now, I want you guys to listen carefully to what's up, okay? This is what happened, okay? Let's get those likes up. Let's get them up. We got 228 on the chat. Let's get them up to 200. 200, por favor. Derek Gamel, shout out to Counterpunch the Truth. Thank you, brother. Nothing but the truth, the whole truth. So help me God and help you too. Darrell Rozier, because he wants in on the belly. Oh, you welcome, Boxing Logic. Absolutely. Joyce H., he thought Lennox Lewis would come to his senses. Lewis is fake. No, that's not it at all. It's not it at all. Thomas Hames, counterpunch to you, brother. Let's see. Ola from the UK, Scott 70. Listen, guys, I want you to check this out. Sean, Mr. Right, counterpunch to you. That's true. And let me explain. Let me explain what happened. Okay. This is what happened. If we rewind, let's rewind back to 2012. Anthony Joshua won the Olympics. Okay. When he won the Olympics, everybody was, of course, you're the gold Olympian. So everyone wants to sign you. Everyone's praising you. You're the winner. You're the top. You're the creme de la creme of the amateurs. Okay. There's nowhere to go but up. Okay. You've excelled everywhere in the Olympic rankings with the gold Olympic trophy or, medal. Right. Okay. So Lennox Lewis invited Anthony Joshua to Jamaica. Anthony Joshua spent time with Lennox Lewis. He spent time with his family, so he got personal with Lennox Lewis. He knew what, how Lennox Lewis lived. He accommodated him. He was a guest in his house. And see, this wasn't an assumption that Anthony Joshua was going to sign with him. Okay. Now, of course, like I said, everybody wants you when you're a winner. Everybody wants you. You're the gold Olympian. Why wouldn't they want you? Right. And what it was, Lennox Lewis made a proposition for Joshua, and Joshua basically turned it down, but he didn't turn it down as like verbally. He left Jamaica after having a great time. I think it was for a couple weeks. Okay, this was a nice little vacation for Anthony Joshua with the warm market of Lewis's family, so this is like his inner circle of people that he sees from day to day. And Joshua was invited in that realm of people. And then after he went back to the UK, he really didn't hear from Joshua much. And Joshua signed with Sky Sports and Eddie Hearn at Matchroom, as we know, right? And what ended up happening, Lennox Lewis kind of felt that was strike number one, because Lennox Lewis felt like, well, damn, man, I brought you into my home. You met my wife, you met my kids, you met my, my daughters and shit like that. You met everybody that I hang out with on a personal basis because I wanted to bring you into my family. Because how you shape and mold relationships business wise, you do personal shit. You know what I mean? It's like that business 101. You want to show that person how you unwind, how you really live. Joshua was exposed to all of this. Okay. Now, when he went back, of course, they lost contact. Okay. And that was strike one. Now, should I say the next time Lennox Lewis and Joshua were at the same event venue was in April of 2017 when he beat Vlad. When he beat Vladimir Klitschko. Joshua won after having one hell of a fight with Klitschko. Dynamic knockout. It almost knocked fucking Klitschko's head through the roof, right? We all remember that. Classic fight. One of the best fights in this last 5 years, definitely, bar none. And after the fight was over, Anthony Joshua went back to the dressing room. Lennox Lewis went to congratulate him and was stopped, people. He was stopped by security. And Lennox Lewis was like, what the fuck is this? I'm Lennox Lewis. I want to see the champ, And they were like, no, you can't go back there. That pissed off Lennox Lewis. That's where he released the floodgates of how he felt about the shit that happened the last, at that time, 17, last 5 years from that date on to this day. Okay. So 7 years. So 7 years, this has been some shit that has been brewing up. He was turned down from signing with him. He didn't want to sign with him. Then you didn't even want to see him to let him congratulate you, right? Now, see, the funny thing is, that's when Lennox Lewis, of course, he was with PBC. And that's when all the bullshit, all this extra criticism started. And it was one-way criticism. Now, see, Lennox Lewis could have saved himself a favor. He could have did himself a favor and kind of disguised it a little bit. But it was just so blatant because the same things that he could have said about Deontay Wilder, he didn't. He chose not to. You know what I mean? So that's like, damn, why wasn't you saying this about Deontay Wilder with all these bullshit ass title defenses that he was fighting these people that we didn't know who the hell they were, or they were very little opposition? Where was that? Where was the criticism? Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Where was the criticism about Tyson Fury? Where was the criticism about any other heavyweight that he could have critiqued and counterpunched? You know what I'm saying? It was like Joshua was the target. He was the target of that. That's what made it so visible. You know what I mean? So I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah, interesting shizzle. Absolutely. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was crazy. Do you think Andy Ruiz, now that he has beat Anthony Joshua when he wasn't at his best, now Andy is not sure if he can beat him? I don't know. Think of it like this. Andy Ruiz is in a place that he's never been in. He's in a place that he's never been in before in his life. And I honestly think he's just living it up. Fuck it. If you go from rags to riches, if you like the Beverly Hillbillies, I know it's a shitty analogy, but think about it. If you're like that, you're like, well, okay. And one day this could be taken from you, or you don't know. I mean, it's like YOLO. You only live once. So he's living this shit up. He's buying houses, he's buying cars, he's buying jewelry, he's living it up. He's a fucking movie star. He met the president of Mexico, the president that matters to him, right? This is something new to him. So, I mean, it's probably overwhelming. And he probably just wants to, before going into another gamble, because that's what that is. That's a gamble, Andy Ruiz, he knows, like, before I sign anything, I want to know if there's any way possible I can get some extra perks on top of what I already have. That's what he's trying to figure out, High time, some call it as it is. Yeah, batshit crazy. Wilder is the new Tyson. Wilder's the new Tyson. Mike Tyson? Ooh, let's hope not, because if he's the new Mike Tyson, what happened to Mike Tyson? he visited Lennox Lewis. UK like Mike Tyson now. Lennox Lewis, now Lewis Borefest. Peace, brother Kurt. Off topic. Are you familiar with anyone in Key West? J.R. Bell. I am. You know, I got good friends in Esmeralda. It's an island. I think it's right after Duck Key, but it's a cool place. Love Key West, man. You're from Key West? Britt MK. Sat here with my mates. We want to know, do you think yourself that the AJ fight was thrown? Man, I did a video on it. Please check it out. It explains a lot. And if it was thrown, I can understand why. You know, if it was thrown, I can understand why. I'm just going to leave it at that, because, you know, Henry, how do you know if AJ knew about Lennox Lewis been stopped by security? I don't know. That's a very good question. But see, here's the thing. It's not what people meant, it's how you took it from the things that you do. See, it might have not even have been a personal thing. It might have just been a general thing. Like, they probably didn't let reporters back there or anybody else that wasn't in the corner of Anthony Joshua at the time. So that's a very good question. I don't know. I really don't know if he knew that Lennox Lewis was seeing him or not. You know what I mean? So there's no way of, unless someone asked him. Those would be one of the questions I would ask Anthony Joshua when I interview him. You know what I mean? When I run across him and we will share words, that would be one of the questions. Very good question, because who knew? Maybe he didn't know, and just Lennox Lewis just took offense of that because he thought that he personally, dismissed him, right? Diaspora Sierra Network, what's up? George Underwood, are the heads, brains behind PBC basically Al Heyman, Floyd, and Leonard Ellerby, or am I wrong? Those are it. It's like the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Like, seriously, man, it's like, those guys are the ringleaders of all that stuff. Definitely. And so that's my understanding too. I could be wrong unless it's somebody else. I think it's like, is it Tim Smith, or I forget his name. I know he's another, I believe he's like another manager of the PBC or something like that, or Al Heyman. Lewis flips to Canada when it suits him. Now he flops to the US. Now it suits him. Snot gobbler. Very good point. He does do that, like, when it's convenient to me kind of shit, Yeah, let's hit the like button. Fuck it. Let's get it up there. You know what I mean? Everybody cast their vote of like. You know what I mean? Mikey T, there's an interesting interview on IFL TV, Lennox Lewis FaceTiming Spencer. Absolutely. That's exactly where I got that from. I just saw that before this. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about also. See, Lennox Lewis was on live chat with Spencer, and basically he just thought that AJ had a bad day. Like somebody just said on there, he had a bad day. It's pressure, and he apologized, and he accepts his apology in advance, right? Wow. So it's kind of like, yeah, I'll be waiting for you to tell me you sorry, motherfucker. That's basically what he's saying. You're under a lot of pressure because you don't know if you're going to beat Andy Ruiz, and you want to lash out at somebody. So that's the cop out. That's the excuse. That is crazy. It's crazy though. It's definitely mad. The Teletubbies are threatening to boycott Andy Ruiz's Snicker deal. Damn. Yep, Spencer Farron. That's what he said. And he's cool with both of them. Now, speaking of Spencer, he did bring up some good points, though. Think of this. He had this to say. He said, well, Anthony Joshua is an iconic figure. He's definitely an example. He's the kind of guy that you want to bring to your school in front of, the whole school and faculty and, tell a success story and a speech of motivation, right? But when you hear stuff like that, since he is that guy in that position, do you guys think it's cool for someone being the Kohai, the junior man, to disrespect the elder or the senior man or the senpai, right? Do you think that was the best thing he could have done? On a personal level, that's something that he could have told Lennox Lewis personally. Like, dude, you're a fucking clown. But to make it public knowledge, to express that to millions of people around the world, that he feels this way about someone that's an iconic figure, that's an elder, that, is that guy, that once was, that you should look up to. What type of message is it really saying? You know what I mean? Think of this. That's just like everybody had a fucking fit when when Floyd Mayweather said he's better than Muhammad Ali. Remember that? Yep, I'm better than Muhammad Ali. And Russell Bleak, I will do that. Great counterpunch, and break it down. But it's crazy. It's like, is that the right approach? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, including myself, I was like, damn, Anthony Joshua, you should say something, dude. That's something you got to say, man. People are talking mad shit about you. That don't bother you? Now, see, if it didn't bother him, right, there wouldn't be really nothing said. But obviously, we know now it does. So this should have been addressed sooner than now, than present day. Now we're looking at it like, well, damn, he's a guy that, like Boxing Logic said, hey, a long fuse. And that's not cool. Because then I feel that a lot of people at that point will be, you should end up lashing out at people. You end up lashing out at the wrong people, taking shit out on other people, So you don't know people's inner demons. You know what I mean? It's like some people have like a dark side, He might take shit publicly and like stuff don't bother me, yeah, and then go home and fucking punch the walls and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be careful on that, That's something that's not good, that's not healthy. It's good to address people, especially when they talk shit. You gotta find a calm, collect way to talk shit back and let them know that you're talking shit at them and it's directly towards them, Jim Brown, is it an obligation for him to rematch? Yep. If you're talking about Ruiz and AJ, it sure is. Contract speak. Lim Ko Young, Mr. Counterpunch, I perceive a level of fear in Andy Ruiz, even though he claims to be calling the shots. I think out of fear, he is unnecessarily delaying the fight date. He might have some concern. But again, I think he's just living it up. So he's like, hey, I'll play this game as long as they let me play it. So it never been there, So I guess Lennox Lewis could motivate AR if there was some aggravation between AR and AJ, which I doubt there is. You know what? I have to actually do a video on the Sky Sports interview. I just received it and I got to watch it and counterpunch it also. So I will get that out to you guys, you know, after this chat's over, however long that is. Glenn Mountain, we love your channel here in the UK. Thank you very much. Counterpunch to you. Why do you think AJ didn't sign with Lewis considering his status in boxing? Vic, I don't know. I don't know what it was. Maybe because remember back then, PBC, you know, that was a new concept back then. Remember that? That was like on free TV. And then PBC and Al Heyman, they had their own bulk of haters. People forget that shit very easily, right? You got short memories in the sport of boxing. You had Top Rank talking shit. You had fucking Golden Boy with Oscar De La Hoya trying to sue Al Heyman because the shit was on free TV and he was robbing the people of what exactly? You're trying to sue a man because he's putting fights and bouts on television free of cost. Are you mad? Well, you know, so yeah. Maybe AJ seen that. It's like, no, maybe this isn't like the platform I want to base myself on. Maybe I want to, you know, be recognized in my country first. You know, there's reasons why he done that. You know what I'm saying? So there's really no telling why he did. But you know what? He made the right decision. He made the right decision. You know. Where is White? B sample. That's a very good question. I got a video about White. I'll get it out to you guys. I got a lot to do. You know what I mean? I think Kirk is Brazilian. Well, I have some Brazilian in me. I have family in Brazil. You know, Spiker Hond. AJ and Fury would be interesting. It would be interesting. And you know what? I'd put my money on AJ because of the style. See, these guys have sparred before. You know why I wanted to see Canelo in Triple G fight? Because I heard Triple G got the best of Canelo in sparring. And then the funny thing about those, none of that shit seems to ever surface. Somebody recorded that shit because that wasn't that long ago. I think Canelo was getting ready for Angulo, right? And they brought in Golovkin as a sparring partner. And Golovkin probably was at that time, was that 14? Yeah, that was an early part of 14. So that put Golovkin, at 31? And Canelo at 23? So, yeah. And I heard that he got the best of Canelo, hit him with rights, make his right leg and shit stiffen up. So I heard a lot of shit, you know? And then he hit, Canelo would hit him and it was like hitting a fucking wall. So I heard a lot of good things about those sparring sessions, you know? A lot of good things. GM Strong, you're a good host. Keep up the excellent work. Thank you for the super chat, GM Strong. Counterpunch to you, sir. Lee Rowe in the house. What up, bro? What's happening? Counterpunch to you. Wilder brings the cup back. Hey. Okay. I don't know what that means. Think AJ's response is due to Lewis' sudden offer to want to help AJ. Like, what the fuck? I don't know. But I'll tell you this. In that Spencer interview, Spencer did reveal, he asked Lennox, you know, he said, well, look, if AJ reached out to you, would you help him? He said, it was like, absolutely, I would help him. Absolutely, I would help the guy, you know? And it's just, I don't know. Over the months, I've looked at Lennox Lewis. It's not like I haven't seen him criticize other fighters. I just haven't seen him criticize one fighter this much. You see what I'm saying? Like, I've seen him critique or criticize fighters for what they do and how they fight and things of that nature. But I never have seen him this aggressively attack one fighter. That's why it's so blatant to me, you know? So you could say, well, like, you know, Well, Lennox Lewis, man, he's just speaking his mind, and that's what older people do, just like Spence said. And I want to get back to that conversation he was having about elders being respected. Is it a good thing to do? Mayweather said he's better than Ali, and people thought that was very disrespectful. But one thing people need to understand, Floyd Mayweather he was hated just as much as he was liked. So 50% of people might have hated Floyd Mayweather, but the other 50 supported him and liked him. You know what I'm saying? And, and a lot of the hatred really wasn't warranted, though. A lot of hatred was because of shit he couldn't do anything about, like his skin color and shit like that. Like, dude, he's cocky, he's an ass, but like, don't hate the dude because he doesn't look like you. You know what I mean? And a lot of those things, I think, led to the hatred, because a lot of people disguise why they don't like a person. Well, I don't like him because he's cocky, and I don't know. Is that the true reason you don't like him? Because you don't say nothing about McGregor. Oh, I love McGregor. Oh, well, they kind of do the similar shit. In fact, McGregor does worse. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of look at that, how that is. You know what I mean? But to just talk shit at someone, or the way you respond, or disrespect, it does, I feel, and I understand what Spencer was saying. What does that do for the future? What does that do for being a role model, saying that about Lennox Lewis? You know what I'm saying? And he made this statement. He said, Will Smith, Lennox Lewis, and someone else was like the actual pallbearers of Muhammad Ali. If Lennox Lewis was such a clown, would the Ali family allow him to carry the casket? Now that is that is a way of really pulling out all the arsenal. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, you're going to bring Ali up? Yes. Ali was just the man. He was the iconic figure, But then again, it's like Lennox Lewis saying this about Anthony Joshua and then all this. I think Lennox should have, if Lennox Lewis cared about fans overall, because like a lot of people dislike him because of what he said about AJ. He needs to understand that. So his words were taken as criticism also. So if he cared about that, he should have been worried of, he's not fighting anymore. He's made his money. He works for PBC. But then there's such thing as dignity too, Thomas Kinney from Ireland, love your channel. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Kurt, from your own personal view, why do you think Lennox Lewis says negative things about Joshua? Well, Andrew, I think honestly, Spencer called it. I think he felt disrespected. First of all, he was rejected. Second of all, he was disrespected. So when you're rejected and disrespected, I think that's what allowed, or just what provoked and made Lennox Lewis say the things he said about Anthony Joshua. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, look at Boxing Ego. This motherfucker makes more Anthony Joshua videos than I do, right? And he does that, and it's always, he was knocked down 4 times. He was destroyed by Ruiz. He was this and that, And the funny thing about it was, like, I didn't really know at first. I'm like, well, what's the deal with Boxing Ego? Like, and I know he's a supporter and this and all that, but he does that extra. And, comes to find out that Joshua or somebody on Team Joshua flagged one of his videos. So he got flagged, and that pissed him off. So see, something personal, it's always something personal, or if you rip away the layers of why a person, or the reasoning behind a person, the intentions of what a person does and what motivates them to do certain things, especially like hate and talk shit and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I think that's what that is, you know. Derek Gamel, thank you for the super chat, brother. Counterpunch to you. Let's get those likes up, guys. Let's get those likes up. Why not? AJ isn't above criticism. He stooped low with the coward comment. You know, like, look, you know, he did say a lot of things, though. But I think it was motivated by rejection and disrespect. He felt disrespected. No. Nah, maintain distance work. The body same as Parker. J Real 504 music. I keep telling people that secretly Lennox Lewis wants to put hands on AJ. You know, I hope it doesn't come to no shit like that. You know, but it was times when Joe Louis really was pissed at Muhammad Ali. You know, Muhammad Ali was this quick, brash, aggressive, shit-talking young fighter, you know, and he was supposed to be the, how do you say, the new and improved Joe Louis, just like Joe Louis was the new and improved Jack Johnson, okay? So a lot of those guys were different, but they were different in certain eras. And funny, Jack Johnson was a wild motherfucker, and that was in the early 1900s. You know, so when Joe Louis was coming around, he didn't really want to be, or his handlers didn't want him to have any type of image like Jack Johnson. Needless to say, Joe Louis did have a lot of illegitimate kids. You know, just people did that shit back in the day. But on the outward appearance, he was a gentleman. He wasn't like, you know, he didn't run around with white women, and he didn't drive fast cars, all, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. He was completely the opposite of the image of Jack Johnson. And then ironically, Muhammad Ali was the opposite of him. He just did his own thing, you know? So they all did the opposite. And then since they did the opposite, it clashed, you know, because Joe Louis wouldn't have particularly done it this way. Just like Lennox Lewis said, well, I wouldn't have done it this way. I would have wanted to split with the fighter. But did he split with Evander Holyfield? You know? Think about that, guys. No. Pay Paul 718. He jealous of AJ. You know, I think Lennox Lewis, you know how like someone, if anybody knows about rejection, okay? If you got with somebody, or you offered, or you tried to date someone and they rejected you, you know, the petty part of yourself, that petty spirit that you can have about the situation where you hope that particular person fails. Like, oh, you see him with someone else, the first thing you're going to think, man, I hope he does her wrong, or, you know what I mean? And I hope, you know, he shits on her and whatnot. You hope the relationship to fail because that person didn't want you. So because you were rejected by that person, you don't wish the best for that person, if that makes sense. I think Lennox Lewis expected that. I think he wanted that because he was like, well, fuck it. You didn't, you know, I gave you an opportunity. My offer was good, because we don't know what that offer was. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what his plans for AJ was. He just wanted AJ on his team. But like Spencer said, though, which was very, very informative, and it made a hell of a lot of sense. Lennox Lewis, just because Lennox Lewis didn't sign AJ, or AJ didn't, you know, come over to Lennox Lewis's side of the street, that doesn't mean Lennox Lewis couldn't have been in AJ's career some type of way. He could have been in it, like someone that helped him fight. Because listen, Lennox Lewis was a superb fighter for the style he had. If Anthony Joshua fought as near as good as Lennox Lewis, he would beat everybody in the heavyweight division. Fact. So a guy with that size, that stature, he would want to emulate the style of Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was quick. The motherfucker could punch. You know, he could box. You know, he had many arsenals. Jab, right hand, left hook, uppercut. Not saying that Joshua doesn't, but Joshua is not as fluid as Lennox Lewis. I think Lennox Lewis was faster too. I think he was faster with the jab. He was quicker with the jab, but he was good at delivering punches and turning his body into those punches, and those right hands he'll catch you with. He could fuck you off. Ask Mike Tyson. Ask Rahman. Okay. Ask David Tua. Ask a lot of people. Luis Alvarez, Tommy Morrison, Evander Holyfield. Ask those guys, right? If Ruiz doesn't fight and it goes to court, Ruiz can't fight, but does that mean Joshua can't fight either? No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that, Manny Ortega. He can do what the hell he wants to. Because remember, it's not him in court necessarily. He doesn't have to be there. Not Joshua. Maybe Ruiz has to. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I think Al Heyman is a smart motherfucker. He's a clever motherfucker. So I don't really think that. I think, honestly, since you're not hearing anything, they may want it to go to court. So you never know. Maybe Al Heyman wants them to bring it to that level. Shit, he wants all that smoke. You know what I mean? Give me that fucking court smoke. Bring it on. I love Khabib. Yeah, Khabib, yeah, he fucked over McGregor, you know? And didn't feel bad after he did. Thomas Kenny, people have to look at what AJ has done. He is a true champion. He doesn't shy away from anyone. Keep up the good work. Great channel. Hi from Ireland. Thomas Kenny, counterpunch to you. I don't trust Lennox around Joshua to train him. Lennox is a hater. You know, I don't think he, knowing what we know now and knowing the backstory of what we know about Lennox Lewis and Joshua. If you guys were here to hear that, I hope you guys heard that story. Okay. I don't think it was jealousy. I think it was disrespect and rejection. And when you added those two together, you got envy. Okay, a lot of people think jealousy. Jealousy and envy is not the same fucking thing. I had to tell a quote unquote friend that yesterday. They're not the same. Envy is something you want what someone else's has. Jealousy is something that you don't want someone else to take from you that you do already have. That's the difference between jealousy and envy. Okay, so when Lennox Lewis seen that Anthony Joshua rejected him, then that shit happened at the arena in Wembley, where he, was turned away at the dressing room of Joshua, not knowing if he was there or not. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter, because that's how Lewis felt. Lewis felt like, fuck, I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. There ain't been a motherfucker like me since me. And how this motherfucker gonna do this to me after beating someone past their prime, and start talking all type of shit. And then I think that's what happened. And when that happened, I think the envy started. That's when the envy started. Okay. The envy started with, you know what? Fuck it. They never gave me that much praise. You know what I mean? I had a good idea for this guy. Think about this. You remember Rocky V? You guys remember Rocky V? And Tommy Gunn was with Rocky Balboa, and then, they didn't sign shit. And then here's Bill Duke, the AKA Don King-like guy, slimes and slithers his way up. And he's like, that ain't nothing but a contract. A contract signifies everything, baby. Only in America. You sign this, you gonna get everything you want. You know what I mean? And it was one of those things where, Rocky felt fucked up because, the Duke left him. But, Rocky wasn't like Lennox Lewis. But, of course, that's a fucking movie. People have feelings. You know what I mean? But Michael shows if McGregor was black, wow, the hate he would get. Think about this, Michael. Think about this, Michael shows. Look at Bones Jones. That motherfucker's hated a lot. You know what I mean? You know? So you might have some truth to that there, brother. The Three Amigos, Rigo, Marga. All right, AJ fans would cross the Atlantic Sea. LDBC and Flomo stay home with their computers. Yeah, they don't go nowhere. Their perimeter is very small. You're absolutely right. Brit MK2. Nobody outside the UFC cares about McGregor. Truth be known. Yeah, he fucked that up with Floyd. A 40-year-old Floyd taxed that ass. And the funny thing about Floyd was Floyd gave him the fight that everybody wanted him to finally fight, and he did. He took punches I don't feel that he really should have took, but he did that, I feel, for the fans, because he knew McGregor was going to tire out. He knew he was going to tire out. He knew that. He was going to gas out because they seen it before with him. They seen the same thing, the same claim. They knew what he was going to do, you know? So it is what it is. Barry B, I heard that Joshua denied Lennox Lewis to enter the dressing room after the Klitschko fight. See, I know he was turned away. I'm not sure if he knew it was Lennox Lewis, you know? But then here's the thing. Did at any time he find out that Lennox Lewis, hey man, Lennox Lewis was looking for you? You know, and that really depends on your security team too. You got to think about it. You know, you got to tell, like, if I'm Lennox Lewis, I'm like, tell that motherfucker I'm outside. You know what I mean? Bro, that motherfucker came to my house for a couple weeks, you know, ate my food, hung out with my family. He got to see me. Let him see me, you know, tell him that I'm outside. Tell the fucking a former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world is outside. You tell him that. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things that I would have done if I'm Lennox Lewis. But who knew if he did that? He might have just took it. Oh, fuck it. Okay, whatever. Fine. Fuck you. You know? You know, the motherfucker won. I'm just trying to congratulate his ass. You know? So, you know, I don't know. You know, I can understand both sides because we don't really know all the facts. But even if Joshua found out, like, hey, Lennox Lewis was looking for it, I turned him away like he wanted me to, he could have then inboxed Lewis and was like, hey man, sorry, I didn't even know you was outside or whatever. You know, but you know, thank you for coming in anyway, nonetheless. We'll catch up. You know, something like that. Yeah, he did. He did, Childy. He did. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You know? All talk about smiles, but I think he was ironic, tactful, and respectful with what he had said. Bogey 708. Who are we talking about? Eduardo de la Hearns. Lennox the Clown Lewis. Lennox is a legend, but he isn't the most likable human being before and even now. Well, I mean, I didn't like him as a fighter. I didn't like his, he was too flat for me. Big up England, big up. If Tyson wants to test, I put him to rest. Like, I like Tyson. I like somebody biting the ear off, you know. I want somebody aggressive, you know. That's when boxing, people didn't give a shit. You know, boxers actually slugged each other in the press conference like Riddick Bowe. You know, jumping over cars and shit like Larry Holmes. You know, that shit was amazing, man. Them dudes, like, people need to understand, boxers are naturally violent. You know, everybody can't be Andre Ward, okay? Boxers have mean streaks. There's a reason why they went to the sport of boxing in the first fucking place, okay? They went there because they had a lot of energy, or they had, you know, they were angry. Like Fernando Vargas, he was always getting into fights. Johnny Tapia, same shit. You know what I'm saying? These guys stayed fighting. That's why I was like, okay, motherfucker, if you want to fight, we're going to put you some gloves on, put you in the boxing ring, and the rest is history. Right? Yeah, so yeah, these guys, you know, boxers are aggressive. You know, it's something in them. You know, but Lennox Lewis didn't have that to me. Not saying he couldn't fight. I just didn't like him. I wanted Holyfield to knock him out. I wanted Tua to knock him out. I wanted Tyson to knock his ass out. I was not a fan, you know. But to be honest, to counterpunch myself, I got to ask myself, what if I was my age then? You see what I'm saying? Like, because you grow with maturity. Would I like Mike Tyson now? You know? Would I like him if I was like in my late 30s? You know, when I did grow up, when I know like, okay, that shit leads to nowhere with that type of attitude in the streets. Because that type of shit will get you shot and killed. You know? That's why now I respect someone with class that knows how to conduct themselves, right? But I mean, Joshua didn't cuss at him or no shit like that. But I mean, it was a disrespectful comment to an elder, you know? So the question you ask yourself is like, well, what if everyone else that looked up to Joshua, heard Joshua say this about Lennox Lewis, start saying that to their elders? You see what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. Holyfield, Vitali, Tyson, Bruno on his resume. He was undisputed. Ash Juice has nothing to compare. Ash Juice. Oh, God, I've heard it all today. Ash Juice has nothing to compare, so he needs to shut up. And that is from Llama J. Brown 75. Damn. Ass Juice. Wow. Patron Dimitri. Hey, you know, ass juice. I've never heard that shit ever. That look. Oh man. Wow. Anyway, Patron Dimitri. Lennox Lewis got robbed in America, came back and proved after the robbery that he was the better fighter in America in a fight, U.S. backyard. And yeah, that is true. You got to give him that, Patron. You're absolutely right. He didn't say come to the UK. But you know something, though? Here's the problem with that, Patron. He was not the marquee fighter. He was not the draw. He was the champ, okay? But he was not the draw. He had to do what he had to do. He had to come back over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he didn't have a choice in the matter. Maybe if Lennox Lewis had a choice, he would have had it in the UK. You see what I'm saying? Like, so I don't think that's the case. I don't think that Lennox Lewis he willingly did it. Don't get me wrong. But he willingly did it because he knew he didn't really have too many options when it came to certain aspects of him wanting to make decisions. And decision making, he didn't have it. He didn't have it. He just did not have that. So he knew he had to, hey, get down or lay down. He fucking got down. He went right back to America and improved himself because everyone knew that was some bullshit. Everybody that saw that fight. I'm like, dude, I was happy it was a draw because, you know, I was a Holyfield fan. I just wasn't a Lewis fan, you know. But he made me respect him, his wins. I'm like, damn, you can't beat that motherfucker. Remember he shut out Michael Grant in like one round? And Michael Grant was a pretty big dude. He just couldn't handle Lennox Lewis, though. You see what I'm saying? It's funny. He ran across the ring and Lennox was, oh! That fight was epic, dude. And he fucking punched himself out and Lennox Lewis came back and knocked his ass out. So you had to respect that, man. You know, yep, Brit MK2 in the monster jab. Lennox Lewis boxed like he was playing chess. AJ needs to use strategy, not just try to blow people away. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. AJ might not like Lennox Lewis, but he has to understand that in order for him to be successful, just like in the Ruiz fight, he tried to knock out Ruiz, just like he did with other people. You ain't gonna knock every motherfucker out. First of all, Ruiz don't have no fucking neck. He don't have a neck. There's nothing to bobble. He's just like a fucking, he's like this. What are you gonna do? You know? And the fucking jab of, Lennox Lewis will pepper you with the fucking jab. And it was a pinpointed jab, you know? It was, and as much as I hated to see Lennox Lewis and Tua, because I wanted Tua so badly to fucking hit him with that left hook, knock his ass through the ropes. Something dramatic, okay? Didn't happen. What did we witness? Lennox Lewis boxing him, giving him a boxing clinic. David Tua, like it was rounds. This motherfucker didn't even like land 2 punches. It was sad. Okay. But I can go back and watch that fight now with no emotion. It's enough time has passed. But, I couldn't watch that fight for a while. Actually, I watched it a few times to just figure out, thinking shit was going to change. Like, what the hell happened? Why didn't Tua hit him with that left hook, knock his ass out, right? And be done with it. But it didn't happen that way. Why? Because Lennox Lewis was a great fucking boxer. That's it. The Bane 1986, Fury and Wilder's resumes are worse than a good portion of top heavyweights. They are. Counterpunch. Can't argue with that. This guy can't be robbed when you're KO'd on the floor. No, you can't. That is absolutely correct. J Real 504 Music. He had the full package. Lennox Lewis did. I mean, so every so often you get knocked the fuck out, but he had the full package. It sucks that Tyson went to jail because we were robbed of a prime Holyfield versus a prime Tyson, and also Lennox Lewis versus Tyson. Yeah, shit happens. I mean, we saw those fights one way or other, though. Shit. There's a lot of fights I think of that could have been made. Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., Roberto Duran. I would love to see that fight. Why did AJ and Uncle accept the invitation to go and stay at Lennox Lewis's house in Jamaica? Tony Lawler. Well, I think that at the time, I think he respected Lennox Lewis because Lennox Lewis was the man, And despite now, with all the shit now, I think AJ looked up to Lennox Lewis. I think he looked up to him because it was one of those situations where he was just getting out the Olympics and Lennox Lewis has already been there and done that. Okay. So yeah, that's a good question though, But then you got to think about it, Tony. Think about this. You invite somebody to your house, right? Stay a week or so, or how many days or weeks he stayed there with Lennox Lewis and his family, right? Then you get turned away at a fucking fight of his. How would that make you feel? Think about it. The last time you saw this motherfucker, he was in your house. You know what I mean? So, hey, Lewis is a good fighter, but an arsehole. Mr. Landlord, counterpunch to you. Does Lennox have fighters? Never had heard much of that. Lennox has from me neither. I think it was it was an experimental thing. Maybe he wanted to pitch him to an American promoter or advisor. You know what I'm saying? Like Al Heyman, like PBC, or because Deontay was still over here. He was already fighting. He'd been fighting 5 years at that point. I always thought that Patron, AJ can be great, but Eddie Hearn is making them look like a little sissy who's afraid to come back to America because he got beat or bad out. Maybe he can't get PEDs legally. See, I don't know about the PEDs thing. And then here's this thing. We won't know until some shit pops off. You don't know those type of things. You can speculate all you want, but then what proof do you really have? How do you prove that shit at the end of the day? Is that going to be, the narrative, like they did Pacquiao? Oh, he looks this way and he don't look this way no more. Andrew, I used to love watching Lennox Lewis box back in the day. You know what? I can appreciate him more now after everything is said and done. But you know, I wish for somebody to knock him out. That's why I love the Rahman Lewis fight 1, or Lewis Rahman 1. All right? Sure. Or shh. Well, let me ask you this. If he gets in round 2 and looks better than Lewis, I don't know. Don't know what that means. This guy, Galata, had hands. Yeah, he did. Okay. If he goes to court, would you put it past Hearn to tell the IBF to make the belt off the rematch table, slowly strip Ruiz of everything? No, because it would be shitty for him. See, if they went to court and they eventually fought, then the IBF will go into limbo. Then guess who? If someone like Kuprat Pulev would fight for that IBF belt because he is the mandatory, right? So he's the mandatory for that belt. You know what I mean? Think they're just building the fight. Well, hey, it's crazy. Joyce H. I wish this beef ends so that both Anthony and Joshua can work together. That would be cool, you know, because I think there's Lennox Lewis. And this is the ironic thing. The person that AJ went off on finally is the one person I feel that's more qualified to train him. And then on top of, you know, Lennox Lewis and talk shit about McCracken. And then, you know, McCracken is a real mentor to Anthony Joshua. So he more likely took that shit personally, you know? Mr. Landlord, Fury fighting stiffs, you know? I like Lewis, but was he really that good beating old Tyson? He was pretty good. AD, the green-eyed monster. Okay, I don't know who the hell that is. Checking in from the UK, brother Jerome Benjamin. Counterpunch to you. Britney Spears Promotions for wish they wouldn't have it. I don't know what that means. Just wish they have it. They just wish they have it. A piece of Takala. A Pisai Takala. But he calls his name for the respect after the fight. Counterpunch from England. Arizism. Airzism. Thank you. Counterpunch to you. Fury A-side over Wallin. LOL. You're right. Mm-hmm. Fury versus question mark. Do you think Ruiz smokes Joshua in the rematch? I don't know. I don't think so. Because AJ knows what type of fight and he knows what AJ is capable of. He's going to be wary of those left hooks for sure. So I doubt that. You know? AJ is smart and powerful, right? But not as smart and as powerful as an Arab with money. Eddie did not add those Arabs for nothing. Just watch and see. One love from Germany. Yep, you ain't lying. The money talks in this situation. Talking about we want to open, make history and no. They offered you a certain amount of money. You guys jumped on it like a motherfucker and scored a touchdown. Spiker Hond. If Mike Tyson trains Joshua by making him spar against Tony Bellew, maybe Joshua takes the belts again. I doubt that. I don't think Tyson is a good, because see, what you don't know or don't understand is Anthony Joshua, you find Anthony Joshua trying to fight like Mike Tyson. That's not his style. That's the wrong style for him. Him crouching. You don't crouch if you're that tall. Why would you crouch if you're that tall? You just throw the left hook. You don't have to dip with it. You don't have to do a fucking Joe Frazier. And, you know what I mean? No, you don't do any of that. You know, you punch from your position, and his position is tall. He uses his height. He should. Iris, then why he fighting bombs? Oh, they getting on Fury's ass, man. It's crazy. It is crazy. Daryl Alexander, thank you for the super chat. Who do you have in the Earl Spence versus Sean Porter fight? I'm going for Porter. Even though I think Porter got his ass handed to him by Ugas. I think the knockdown was real. I think the referee was in the pocket. I think the fix was in because they wanted to make this fight, which they're having between Porter and Spence. But I hope Porter taps that ass. Because, Errol Spence has to be humbled too. He's getting a little beside himself or whatnot. Prime Mike Tyson would lose to AJ. Oh, shit. Maddie Carruthers. I doubt that one. I would go ahead and disagree. But I'm going to tell you why. If he's having problems with a shorter Andy Ruiz, what makes you think he won't have the same problems with Mike Tyson that likes to fucking dip up under shots and rip punches? And we know AJ has holes in his defense. You think he's going to take one of those fucking hard ass punches with mean intentions lightly? Or should I say easily? No. I would definitely disagree on that one. Asmuel. Shout out from New Zealand. Tua versus Lewis ruined my childhood. Man, I wasn't a fucking child. My child was just born at that time, back in 2000. I remember that shite. That sucked. That pissed me off. And you know something? I have love for like a lot of like South Pacific things. I'm surprised I don't have one of those fucking tattoos like The Rock. I just didn't get them because, for one, I'm not Samoan or anything like that. So why would I be putting something unlike my heritage? If I ever had a tattoo, which I don't because of business reasons, but if I had one, it would be something that's related to my internal family. However, my daughter's mom is from South Pacific. She's a South Pacific Islander. And, she used to love watching Tua too. And we watch that shit, and it's funny. We sit there and watch fucking Tua box, pepper Tua's ass round after round after round. And it was funny. It was almost like, we had made some adobo and all this island food and shit. We gonna celebrate. I had all kind of beer, right? And this motherfucker got beat. It was so bad it ruined the whole night. I ended up getting in an argument with her and everything. Left the house and shit. Fuck you. It changed the whole mood of the night when Tua lost. Yeah, so I feel you on that one. Ashmuel, I feel you on that one, definitely. Ben Edwards, Tyson was the best ever. I don't know about that one. Tommy the Duke Morrison, exciting to watch. Big left hook. Yeah, I liked his left hooks. Poor bastard. Didn't allow Op to fight up close. I think Ruiz will apply another strategy in the rematch. Yeah, he has to. I think that would be wise for Ruiz. Definitely. Tyson looks seriously juiced in his prime. I don't know. I doubt that one. I'm going to tell you why I doubt Tyson was juiced up. For one, he was already like 12, 13 years old at 180 pounds. You know what I'm saying? That shit was just genetic. The fucker was jacked and he was built like that naturally. Even they thought Teddy Atlas was lying about his age. It's like, this fucking kid's 12 years old. They're like, dude, come on. How old is he? 17? He's like, well, fuck, he's 17 then. But he was only 12 years old at 180 pounds. 185. Okay? So, no, I don't think he was juiced at all. I think that was natural talent. Definitely. You know, and you look, Tyson had never failed any fucking drug test. Now, you know, not saying that they checked for that back then, but you know, he did fight what from '86 to 2005, maybe a little longer. You know, his career spanned of about 20 years. David Mason, Ike Ibarrabucci was a wasted talent. 100% truth. Counterpunch. Ike Ibarrabucci was probably one of the best heavyweights we had in the last fucking 30 years. And he did not have the opportunity to show it, but only in 20 fights. He was 20-0, no losses, no draws, with 15 wins by KO. He gave David Tua his first loss, and this was back when Tua was that bald-headed Mike Tyson looking fucking Tua, when everyone compared him to Mike Tyson. Remember that? He beat that Tua. Not the fat Tua with the fucking bird nest on his head. Not him. I'm talking about the ripped fucking muscles on his fucking neck. That bald-headed Tua. He whooped ass. You know what I mean? So absolutely. Then he knocked out Chris Bird. Who the fuck can say they knocked out Chris Bird? He was the first to do it. Tua, then Chris Bird, then serious jail time. Sadly to say. But he was one hell of a fighter. You know, 6'2", built, jacked, you know, had a good chin, had fucking great power. Yeah, he was the real damn deal. You know, but he got some real damn jail time too, unfortunately. So yeah, you're right. Wasted freaking talent. Lewis needs to go back to Red Stripe commercials. I liked him more then. Yeah, it's the PBC. Eddie is a shrewd Englishman. Nah, I don't think no Peds. Muhammad Ali, I don't think Mike Tyson was on anything like that. And you know something crazy about Mike Tyson though? A matter of fact, I'm 100% sure he's not on shit. You know why I knew he never took anything? Because Mike Tyson, the reason why you love Mike now, the reason why you loved him after Lennox Lewis beat the shit out of him. Why? Because he was 100% brutally honest about everything he did. Right? Mike Tyson, if something was on his mind, if it was tasteful or distasteful, he told you how he felt. Okay? Mike Tyson was like, hey, yeah, this motherfucker beat the shit out of me, and I sting saws and green clovers and stuff. You know? I don't want to interview with a woman unless I fornicate with her. You think someone like that is going to deny taking drugs? Fuck, he'd have told you. He told you about the coke. Remember that? I do coke as much as I could get. Now he's just a pothead. He smokes fucking $40,000 dollars in weed a week. $30,000 worth of marijuana a week. Mike Tyson gets down. He probably hangs out with Joe Rogan and these motherfuckers smoke till they choke. Okay? But it is what it is. You should do a live based on Terrence Crawford. Kill 3R kills. I shall. Thank you. Definitely I will. Do you respect Skip Bayless boxing knowledge? George Underwood, I think Skip Bayless is a fanatical Manny Pacquiao guy and a bona fide Floyd Mayweather hater. You know what I mean? Because to this day, he still talks shit about Floyd as though Floyd is still fighting. What's that shit about? You know what I mean? Like, dude, he's retired. You know, he's still talking about. He's one of those guys that hoped and wished and prayed on Floyd's downfall. You see what I'm saying? He's one of those guys that wished the worst of a fighter. And he still has that dream one day Floyd will come back and he'll fight these guys and these young guys will be too good for him and too strong and they're going to take him out. That guy is a trip, you know. But boxing knowledge, no. I think Stephen A. Smith has more boxing knowledge than Skip Bayless. The only thing is Skip Bayless is of age, so he was able to see the fights like Ali and the fights in the 70s because he was around at that time, right? And I was not. So, Love Bug, Team AJ. If AJ let Lennox in on his fame and fortune, Lennox would be singing a different tune. Absolutely. See, Lennox Lewis knew the potential in Anthony Joshua. That's why he wanted to sign him. He wanted Anthony Joshua to be that president of box. He wanted him to be that guy. He wanted him to be this big surprise to everyone in the heavyweight division of boxing. And he would have took credit for presenting that particular fighter. Okay. So that's what that would have been. He wanted a different relationship. That's why he brought him home. N.O. Thank you for the super chat. A true champion returns to the scene of the crime. I 100% agree. Counterpunch to you. Anthony Joshua should come back to Madison Square Garden. He should. And see, here's the thing. It's more reverence in it because, okay, he had a choice to go back to the UK or to go to Saudi Arabia, but he chose on his own accord to come back to Madison Square Garden. That gives him that much respect. You know what I'm saying? And that would be worth mentioning. Like, okay, I could have had this fight anywhere, but I wanted it to be here. You know what I'm saying? So, definitely. Type in Nestor Gibbs, FBI on YouTube right now. Damn. The boxing voice snitched on his own people. Okay. Counterpunch, my guy, who would you rate as the current #1 heavyweight? Okay. Here's my thing. I don't care. I do not care if Andy Ruiz wasn't in the top 10. It has nothing to do with that. Before Anthony Joshua lost, we regarded Anthony Joshua as #1, Tyson Fury #2, and Deontay Wilder #3. Right? Okay. Andy Ruiz beats Anthony Joshua. So, you know what that means? That means that Anthony Joshua becomes wherever he's at. I don't know who he would be replaced and whose slot he would take, but Andy Ruiz should be #1, Tyson Fury #2, and Deontay Wilder 3 because of that. Now, until Tyson Fury beats Ruiz or Ruiz gets beaten, okay, that's a different story. Now, if Deontay beats Fury, he becomes #2. You know, a lot of people think because Joshua, which was #1 heavyweight in a lot of people's book, because he lost, that means Ruiz moves up somewhere. No, he moves up to the position that he beat him for. He just had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he took it, and he won. He beat the #1 guy. Therefore, he is the #1 guy. He's the #1 guy until he gets beat. Whoever beats him becomes the #1 guy. If Wilder beats Ruiz, Wilder becomes the #1 guy. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it, you know. Lady says, Sarah, Ruiz will not win the rematch, and that's facts. It's facts when it happens, dear. Yeah. But let's see. Good evening, Counterpunch. Don Dada. Good evening to you. Counterpunch to you. Joel Papanui. AJ, two would have made a great team. Oh, AJ and Lennox Lewis. Okay. AJ would be a killer with LL's toolbox. He sure the fuck would. I can't agree more. He sure would. You know? Does a loss necessarily bump you off from being number one? And where does AJ rank when he beats Ruiz? Personally, I say AJ is still number one. His ranking record is more impressive than any other thing. Well, look, here's the thing. The rankings is a living, breathing organism, right? B6 UK, what's up? Counterpunch to you. Yeah, I think it does bump you off because you lost. And I think the person who beat you should replace you in that regards. I don't think that, because see, here's the thing. When Andrew Ruiz chose to fight Anthony Joshua, number 2 and number 3, if you guys looked at that as Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder being 2 and 3, none of those guys wanted the smoke. So Andy Ruiz wanted the smoke, so he went to challenge the number 1 guy. Boom, he beats the number 1 guy. What does that mean? He becomes the number 1 guy. Now the question is, where does it rank AJ when he beats Ruiz? Well, when he beats Ruiz, he becomes number 1 because Andy Ruiz is number 1, if that makes sense to people. You know what I mean? AD, H Money, it's Nestor Snitch, DEA informant. Okay. Have you seen Joshua's weight loss? Fleet Morgan, hold on, you know something? I seen that. It looks good, the pictures. But let me show you guys something. That's perception, okay? Because first of all, Joshua was kind of like this in a slump. So his muscles look relaxed. I don't think he lost a lot of weight like people, let on. I think that he was sitting at a position where it looked like he lost weight, do you think AJ should bring Joey D back? Yep, he should. He should bring him back. He needs all the help he can get. AJ got to be number 1, then Fury. AJ's record speaks for itself. Really, he's had the tougher opponents, clearly. Also, big up to you, Counterpunch Boxing. The Boxing Voice 89, Counterpunch to you. Look, I feel that AJ has the best record in heavyweight boxing. I do think that. However, if he gets beat, then the rankings change, okay? He's no longer a champion because he got those belts taken. Yes, he's accomplished so much, but that does not make him impervious to from being dropped from the rankings. It doesn't mean that. Because somebody can always take your place. That's what boxing's about. Who can beat the best guy? So Andrew Ruiz beat the number 1 heavyweight. Therefore, he becomes the number 1 heavyweight along with the champion. Along with the perks, along with the bling bling. The Bentleys, the 2 houses, one for him and Mom. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, it is what it is. I think he deserved it. He took the risk. He was the one that took a leap of faith. He got paid, and he laid Anthony Joshua on his arse 4 times. So yes, he deserves to be number 1 right now. It's not Tyson Fury. It's not Deontay Wilder. They have to fight him for that position. That's what, that's the only way I can think about, B6 UK, not for long. The best resume in heavyweight boxing has Usyk. Resume in heavyweight boxing is Usyk or has Usyk? Anyway, love bug Team AJ. Lennox thought he was going to be known as the man who made AJ great, and he got tricked. I respect what Lennox has done, but now He is a damn clown. It's almost sad. You know what, Love Bub? I will agree with you. Lennox Lewis did think he was going to make that known as being the man that made AJ. Blaine Walker. Lennox Lewis is the real British undisputed heavyweight champion, not AJ the clown. Wow. Okay. Different perspectives. Well, here's the thing. Lennox Lewis is the real British undisputed heavyweight champion. Okay. Now that he is. I mean, he was. So that should tell you something about Tyson Fury, right? Lennox is Canadian. Lennox Lewis isn't British. Blame Lennox Lewis. Isn't British. You're a puppet. Lennox Lewis got knocked out by two bums. Hasim Rahman and Oliver McCall. Yeah, he did. Mickey Dub. When ex-fighters taste celebrity like Lewis and are out of the spotlight for years, I think they still crave the attention they had when they were famous. I believe that. Lennox is a clown cause why he never criticized Wilder. Sean Cody, I don't know. That's a very good question. Hold on a second. But no, Sean, you're absolutely right. I mean, talk shit about everybody. Don't just single out a fighter. You know? What do you think is going to win between AJ and... I'll make my prediction soon. I have to see how both of these guys are. Say English Scottish don't clash out as British. No. Oh, doesn't class ourselves as British. Oh, okay. Was Hay ever seen as the next Lennox Lewis? I doubt that. He didn't really fight like Lennox Lewis. Johnny Morgan. Who ruined boxing more? The Klitschko's or Floyd? Both. They both ruined it. The Klitschko's ruined it by... They ruined it by being too damn dominant. And the style that they have really wasn't a fan-friendly style, and they did it for years. That's what that was about. You know, Floyd ruined it simply because he didn't fight the best when he could have fought the best to show that he was the best. And he fought people for money solely, which, you know, I mean, I can't argue with him wanting money, but I can argue and criticize why he didn't fight those tough fighters along with those people that he cherry picked, you know, or selected carefully, right? And absolutely, he stuck an emphasis on the zero. He sure did. Slayer 363636. Daniel, Bruno was absolutely loved and no one cared a crap for Lennox Lewis. Hey, you know, he was criticized. I am happy to be in the same moment with you. Well, hey, this is what it is live. Montari Mensa. This is live, so welcome. Counterpunch to you. Snot Gobbler, is it just me or is the PBC the biggest cancer in boxing? Lawsuits, freezing out fighters, not honoring contracts, and subsiding the LDBC racism? Be gone, Heyman. Heyman be gone. Well, I don't know. That's one of those things. That is one of those things. Who did Floyd avoid specifically? Well, Floyd avoided Lara. He avoided Keith Thurman. He avoided Sean Porter. He avoided everyone in the welterweight division besides the people that he wanted to fight. And then blamed it on they're not big enough draw. Timothy Bradley. He didn't want to fight Timothy Bradley, saying that he wasn't a big enough draw. Everyone, basically. Everyone around him, because he was a welterweight. And the fights that he chose are like, well, why the fuck did you pick that guy? He's doing what Tyson Fury doing now. He's doing the same shit. But don't worry, you know. I counterpunched both of them. Floyd is the GOAT. Kurt, do you think AJ's win go down at the moment? The heavyweight became great, like Lewis for. I have no idea. That's why it's so intriguing to see the fight. Aaron Rosas, I still think Chino won the first fight with Floyd. No, it was close, but Floyd, I think it was 7-5. Me looking at that fight, he did fuck up. He beat the piss out of, he showed Floyd what an ass whooping was, what a rough, tough fight was. Floyd took punches like Joshua took on the side of the dome because of how awkward Maidana was. You see what I'm saying? This guy, he was definitely an awkward guy and a perfect type of fight for Floyd. Floyd couldn't be all like technical and use his defense like he normally does against someone that awkward. Floyd doesn't have one Schwartz or Otto on his resume. Well, who was Victor Ortiz when he fought him? That's the question you ask yourself. Who was Victor Ortiz when he fought him? Who else did he fight? Victor Ortiz. Robert Guerrero. Who the fuck was he? Robert Guerrero had that one name on his resume, and that was Andre Berto. Okay? He beat Andre Berto. Remember, he had his eyes looking like two swollen vaginas. Remember that? He looked bad. He looked like a Homer Simpson character. That's how his eyes looked. Kurt, what do you think of Andy Ruiz not being a man of his word? Well, I think he's trying to renege on some things, but I don't think it's just only him. I think it's, a lot of things behind him. Well, AJ, I think Ruiz is scared of the rematch. Oh, Guerrero was the mandatory. Guess what, Scants Rant? So was Manny Pacquiao. He was the mandatory too. And what did Floyd do? Floyd dropped that fucking belt. And this was way before 2015. Okay? Look, it was convenient. Just like Dominic Brazil was a fucking mandatory. Okay? It was a mandatory also. He just used that particular fighter as an excuse because he knew that fighter was doable. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people use that mandatory. He was mandatory. Yes, so was Manny Pacquiao. And when Manny Pacquiao became mandatory, he dropped the fucking belts. I remember specifically what he said, Scants Rants. Belt don't make me. Belt don't make me. Right? And because that was a sanctioning body trying to get him to fight Manny Pacquiao. And then that would have been real shitty if he would have agreed to that and not dropped that belt, because a mandatory, you cannot implement rematch clauses in mandatories. You see what I'm saying? And I know it was after he came out of jail, but whatever. That's Floyd Mayweather. Shit, he came back into the sport of boxing fighting Juan Manuel Marquez. right? So, ooh, GM Strong. Lomachenko versus Haney. Ooh, shit. I would love to see it. You know, this year, I think Lomachenko. Wait till next year or the year after. Haney would be a problem for Lomachenko if he still doesn't have his reflexes. You know what I'm saying? Because Lomachenko's getting on up there now. You know? The Lance Armstrong of boxing. Timothy Bradley. Yep. He ducked Timothy Bradley. Back when Bradley beat Marquez, Marquez knocked out Pacquiao. He ducked him. He could have made that a super fight. You know, Bradley would have fought him tooth and nail. That would have been actually a fight I wanted to see. Bradley was athletic. Bradley was tough. You know, Bradley was undefeated. Bradley was a champ, right? Bradley beat Pacquiao, decision Pacquiao and Marquez. Come on now. Why couldn't that fight happen? Why did you think him fighting Maidana warranted or was a better fight selection or a decision to fight him than Maidana? If Timothy Bradley would have been a great, way more acceptable choice than Maidana. And you know what the reason for that was? He wanted to be or avenge Adrian Broner. Come on. Impossible. Adrian Broner the opportunity was stripped from them. Nah, Bradley did not want that fight. Bullshit, he didn't. He said he wanted that fight. I remember specifically he said, hell yeah, I'll fight that fight. And in fact, at that same interview, Bradley said, well, why don't he fight Pacquiao? He don't want to fight me. Why don't he just fight Pacquiao? He ducking. Just like Timothy Bradley is saying Errol Spence is ducking Terrence Crawford to this day, he's saying that same shit. You know, Blaine Walker, Mayweather beat the likes of De La Hoya, Pacquiao, Cotto, Mosley, Zab Judah, and great Genaro Hernandez. Ooh, that was a throwback. Floyd's record speaks for itself. He can't fight everybody. His record speaks for itself. Blaine Walker, guess what? He did beat those guys. And Genaro Hernandez was great. That was a great fight. But understand something. These guys that he fought, these were at different parts of his life. I respect the Zab Judah fight because he was getting his ass whooped. He was actually dropped in that fight. Mr. Richard Steele did not label it as an official knockdown, but he was knocked down by Zab Judah because he tried that jab to the body and got his ass countered with a right hook with someone with speed and counterpunching ability like Zab Judah was able to do that. It's just Zab Judah ran out of steam. He wasn't conditioned enough to do that round after round. Oh, Corrales too. Scance rants. Guess what? Corrales, I was very impressed with Corrales. Him beating Corrales, it was like, and I was going for Corrales, but Floyd was just shit. You know, but that's Pretty Boy. People need to understand. Floyd Pretty Boy Mayweather made Floyd money. Floyd money lived off the reputation that Pretty Boy Floyd made. He was a different type of fighter back then. You know what I'm saying? Floyd beat those guys past their prime. You know, I would wanted to see, well, I mean, Cotto and Mayweather was a good fight. Mayweather beat him. Mayweather, look, you can't, he fought Cotto. He did fight Cotto. I just think his ass ended his career. He got super selective. You know what I mean? Yes, it was one of his best performances, Scance rant. You can't take it away from him. I'm not hating on Floyd. I criticize, look, this is how I look at fighters. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. But don't pretend you're still in the kitchen when you're not. Okay? Don't pretend you're still the best or you're still fighting the top fighters when you're not. We knew he wasn't. Keith Thurman, those guys, like, it wasn't fucking Errol Spence. He was too green at the time. And Floyd threw Errol Spence in there as a fucking roadblock. He did that. He didn't want to fight Keith Thurman. And then here's the sad thing about it. I'm not saying that I think Keith Thurman would have beat him. He might have. But the thing is, Floyd didn't want to fight him. Okay? because he knew he didn't want to be like Pacquiao, taking punches that he normally wouldn't take, this, that, or the other, right? It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Mikey about to sign with Matchroom. Uh-oh. Is that so? But you remember they had this was last year, and Mikey was, talking about going over to that side of the street. They know where that money is, man. Fuck this pay-per-view. I don't know. Maybe the pay-per-view numbers might go this way or might go that way. Hey, if it reaches this number, man, fuck that. Pay me. I thought Mikey would have signed with Matchroom by now. Yeah, he's just taking his time. I mean, I still want to see him fight Garcia, even though I think Garcia will starch him. But it would be a fucking great fight, though. I still want to see it. What's my thoughts on Rick Glacier? I don't know. I have no idea. Burn 8 Void. Pacquiao looked superhuman versus Thurman. No, he didn't. No, he didn't look superhuman versus Thurman. He looked very good in the early rounds. He took some time off in the middle rounds, and he had a second win in the later round. He had a fight with Thurman, people. So, the Zone have picked up World Boxing Super Series for the next season, so you get to see it in the States. That's great. I hope so. Cunt face. Usyk is a hype job. You know what? We will find out in due time if he is. I think Floyd can still beat Sean Porter and Thurman. Sean Cody, that's if he has balls and confidence enough to fight them. It's one thing you believing he can. Will he show us that he can? That's what it's about. Pac was on roids. Well, I mean, shit. If he was on roids, Al Heyman authorized it. And if that's the case, maybe Keith Thurman was too. Fuck it. Let's do it that way. Usyk hasn't beaten any names. Okay. Well, cunt face. We'll see if he beats Takam. Okay. We'll see if he does that. Do you think Floyd would come back for Canelo too? Never. He ain't coming back for a fight like that. Floyd is not about taking risks. And since he's not about taking risks, that's why you can't put him too high up. He's the guy that was smart enough to make the most money because he lived from the possibility of being beat because he was never beat. That's how he made all that fucking money. That's what I'm telling you. Floyd is not doing any of that shit Sugar Ray did or Sugar Shane or, any of these fighters that retired and then come back. He ain't doing that shit. Floyd's smarter than that. He's smarter than that. He'll never do that. He can always sit back and say, I was the best fighter of the generation. I'm the TPE. I'm the cash cow. I'll still come back. I made 300 one night. Canelo ain't got nothing on me. That type of dude. You know what I mean? What about Pac dodging drug tests? Are you talking about back then? When are we talking about? Before I go. Because I am wrapping up soon. Do you think Billy Joe would beat Canelo? I think he would beat Canelo. Would he get the win or the decision? I doubt it. Jamie Burns, but I do think he can beat Canelo. The height, the reach, the speed, the boxing ability, the style. Yeah, I think he can beat Canelo. But all Canelo has to do is do the same shit he did with Lara. Just throw a bunch of punches to the body and then they'll give him the fight. They'll give him the decision. I think that. That's me counterpunching that in a nutshell. Adrius, Sugar Ray Robinson's record is something that everyone should remember. Yep, crazy fucking record. Counterpunch. From Nigeria, FCT, big up. Hey, big up to you, brother. Yeah, I think he does. I think he beats Canelo. I honestly does. I think Billy Joe Saunders beats Canelo Alvarez. It's just the style. Canelo cannot handle boxing counterpunchers or movers. He can't handle someone that knows how to use lateral movement, that uses lateral movement as defense. He doesn't like it. Therefore, he has problem with those guys. He wants someone to come to him so he can set up those shots. That's what he likes to do. That's what he loves to do. But if he can't do that, he's going to be pissed off. Look at the Lara fight. Just watch the Lara fight. Then what he'll start doing, start throwing to the body. He'll start feigning. He might get some punches off, if you know, because he's good at feigning. He's good, like he'll throw a right, he'll throw his right up to have you think he's throwing with the right hand, and then come with an uppercut. That's how he busted Lara's eye open, because he caught him with that one fucking punch. You know, so Andrade could be the best right now. He could be, you know, but he has to fight all these other guys. He said he didn't want to fight Jacobs, because they're good friends, so we'll never know how that goes. You know, that's just like, I think, was it Timothy Bradley and Terrence Crawford? They'll never fight because they're good friends. You know, Joseph Parker will never fight Fury because they're good friends. So some fights just won't happen anyway. You know, Wilder Ortiz, November 23rd. Yeah, I heard that. And because they went from the 9th to the 23rd. But that tells you, if they're fighting at the ass end of November, how is he going to get prepared to fight fucking Fury in February? You see what I'm saying? That don't even make sense to me. Right? That's like too short of a time frame. Unless he just goes in there and he thinks he's going to plow and fucking just run Luis Ortiz over. You know? Just got to see who will buy the TV rights. Yeah, it's crazy. That's fucking weird, man. I don't know. That is weird. Eddie Hearn promoting KSI versus Logan Paul. Wow. Part 2. Deontay, 100 million. Heyman says no Ortiz. 6 million. Heyman says no Kanaki approach. Heyman says no. Ruiz never a part of Heyman plan, so if he loses part of it. Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care. He don't plan on fighting Fury. Well, maybe he won't. Maybe he's just gonna wait to the Joshua fight. And hopefully Ruiz beats Joshua or Joshua beats Ruiz. Either way, Deontay Wilder's getting paid. Speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it. To this day. Yeah, man. So absolutely. He will train like a freak. Yep. You don't need too much training to throw one that will end the fight. Yeah, that's why he said he was getting away with a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Wilder hoping he gets Ruiz fight unification. That's what he's banking on. That's what he wants. That's what he hoping he can get or whatnot. I have no idea about that one. That's a good question. Was he a diabetic? He probably was. You know, he fought had all types of problems. He already KOs Kovalev. That could happen. He might KO Kovalev. Unified. Speak it, believe it, receive it. That's it. GM Sprong. That's what shit. You know, Deontay Wilder, if you look at him, if you go back to 2000, if you go back a year ago, Deontay Wilder didn't make anything near the money he's making now. You know, so it is what it is. It is sneaky about Wilder's crew. Shit, you know, they're waiting for that big money, you know. So, Jamie Burns, I think he'll knock out Kovalev. I think Kovalev outboxes him, but I think he already has the power. If he catches Kovalev, he can knock him out like Alvarez did. Why do you think Yarde versus Kovalev hasn't had real media attention yet? I don't know. Probably bad promotion. And then it's not, you know, and I think it's overshadowed by the possibility of Canelo fighting him. So who knows? Montana, hi from Leicester, UK. Tony Montana signing in. Wilder, the champion of contradictions, mandatory dues are my ass. Bad promotion or no promotion. Yeah, either or. Just as shitty either way. Please do an Andy Ruiz, how it would be right now. Oh, well, got to give you guys Andy Ruiz before I go. Hello, guys. I'm letting you know I'm calling the shots. It's going to be in America. Me and Eddie Hearn, we're working to get this fight for you guys. But the rematch is going to happen. I don't think it's going to be in Saudi unless they give me some Saudi money. My mom wants a new house. She says it stinks in the backyard because something happened. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I'm ready to get her a new house. So that's that. So we got to make this fight done. And I'm getting a $2 million raise. Again, it's a blessing. And I'm going to win again. I'm going to lose some weight so I can be like the Mexican Anthony Joshua. But then he looks like a robot, so maybe not. Plus, he can't fight or box. I want a Snicker, so maybe not too many Snickers. Maybe after I work out and be my cheat day. I want a Snicker cake. So some Esa says she's gonna give me a Snicker cake. So let's see if she's lying or not. But anyway, guys, it's been fun. I gotta wrap it up. I got a lot of things to do. Gotta drop some more videos, but stay tuned. It's been fun tuning in. You guys tell me what you think about this live podcast. Lennox Lewis versus Anthony Joshua. Will the beef end? You guys tell me. Until then, you guys have all been counterpunched. Peace.